T2 Trainspotting, which for the purposes of this review, we're just going to call Trainspotting 2 because it doesn't make any sense for it to not be called Trainspotting 2. I mean, at least just have it T2 Trainspotting 2. It's that simple because no one else is going to say, hey, have you seen T2 Trainspotting? No, everyone's just calling it Trainspotting 2. So, there, okay? Trainspotting 2 is directed by Danny Boyle and stars Ewan McGregor, Ewan Bremner, Johnny Lee Miller, and Robert Carlyle, the same cast and director from the 1996 movie. It has been 20 years since Renton left his friends, took all their money and just went on his own separate way and left them to just pretty much rot in Scotland. But now he's come back to reconcile with the mistakes that he's made in his youth, with the fact that he left his best friends, the people that he held closest to his heart, are just alone in the ditch. And we also get to see where all these characters have come in 20 years. They're all trying to go back to those years of when they were young kids, just going around, just, having a great time. And live to your dead attitude, listening to Iggy Pop and doing whatever the hell they want. Well, guess what? They can't. It puts our characters in a completely different situation and lets them play that out. There are some familiar elements in Trainspotting 2. It calls back to the original Trainspotting. There is actual footage from that original film that they use in this movie, and some of the interactions and conversations and a few of the plot beats are very similar to that first film, but for the most of it, we're seeing our characters as completely different people. They have changed. They are continuing to change. They have a new way of looking at life as middle-aged men who are all going through midlife crises, who are all trying to deal with the consequences of the things they did in their youth, whether it be from Spud, still being addicted to heroin, now having a son which he can't see because his wife hates him, or Sick Boy, who's still just doing stupid shit like selling out his girlfriend to have risque sex with businessmen and politicians and then blackmailing those men. It's just like, what are you doing? Begbie's still in prison. He has a son that he never sees. And Renton as well. He says that his life is so great ever since he took his money and ran off. But no, it's not. They all hate their lives. They are inherently screwed up people. These characters, they're doing some really sick things, or they're doing bad things to themselves and they're not realizing it. And you're thinking, just get over yourselves. And a couple of them actually do. And that's what made Trainspotting 2 so nice and so sweet, is because we got to see these characters move forward with their lives. Even some characters who still remained unlikable, like Begbie, he still had some really nice emotional moments, whether it be from Robert Carlyle just being a great actor and giving these scenes the right amount of power as well as the right amount of fun and just craziness that they need. He can still give everything. All these actors just take these characters into wonderful, sometimes beautiful new directions. It showed that Danny Boyle knew exactly where to take this story 20 years afterwards, because we've seen this sort of thing done so badly with My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2 or Independence Day Resurgence. These legacy sequels that come just way too late, to the point where we just don't care anymore. But the biggest problem that I had with those two films was that they didn't do anything new whatsoever. Like I said, Trainspotting 2 takes some familiar roots. It does take that Choose Life monologue that was so famous with the first one, updates it with Facebook and Twitter, and the fact that people use their phones while they're eating at a restaurant. That annoys me. But for the most part, Trainspotting 2 goes in new directions, and that made it more interesting to watch, that made it a better movie, that made it just a stronger experience, and that made it worthy to stand up to the original, in my opinion. There was such great visually inventive filmmaking that I know Danny Boyle can do just so well. It was so great to see him using his camera in such unique ways. There's a great sequence where Renton is in a nightclub toilet and Begbie is in the toilet stall next to him, and it's this split shot, and they slowly realize that one's in the other stall, and it's electric. It's just so great to watch. But there's also some great scenes where people are saying something and those words are lit up on the screen. It was just a lot of fun. For the most part, this movie was just so much fun. Trainspotting had a lot of fun qualities to it, but it went in some really dark narrative territory. But Trainspotting 2 just embraces the craziness and the insanity of this world. It's what I love about British cinema, is that it can have some darker moments, it can have some really emotional moments, but it can also make those stories so much more fun than any American version of this story. Is Trainspotting 2 as good as the first one? No, because the first Trainspotting is pretty much a classic of the 90s. It was just a stunning landmark for cinema at that time. It showed people what just explosive, kinetic British cinema can give to audiences. So many people love it. I love it. I love the first film. And to see Trainspotting 2 was a nice experience, but there was a few times when I just wanted a little bit more. I felt like Begbie was too much of a villain in the end. We didn't have that much resolution totally for his character. I felt that the female roles in this movie were very underused. You had a really nice performance from Angela Nedialkova, who I've never seen in any movie ever, but I just felt like in the end her character didn't really do anything, and the actual ending of this film is very clunky, just really cheesy, and I don't know, I'm very mixed on just how this story was totally wrapped up, because it really does wrap everything in a nice, neat little bow. Trainspotting 2 is still a very fun experience, still has a great soundtrack, which I'm glad they didn't just use all the old songs from the first movie. They actually had some new songs in there. They had a Queen song in there, which, if anyone knows me, you know that's my jam. And I was having so much fun watching that. There's so many great fun scenes, so many wonderful performances. Ewan McGregor, Ewan Bremner, Johnny Lee Miller, Robert Carlyle, they work so well with each other. They had great chemistry. It's wonderful to see Danny Boyle bringing these characters back, to see him get these great performances out of his actors. It's also wonderful to see Danny Boyle and Ewan McGregor working together again, because they had a huge feud back in the early 2000s, and now they've come back together, and you feel that. You feel that connection behind this movie, and I'll have to say that Trainspotting 2 is worth the ticket and the Blu-ray. So Trainspotting 2, have you seen it? Please tell me what you think about it down in the comments below. I saw this movie a little while ago, took me a little while to do the review, but it doesn't come out in the US until March 31st, so I'm still ahead of the curve. There you go. There are going to be more videos linked down here, or one over there. For more Mr. Movies, please press my little face right there. Thanks for watching.